Okay, so does uh, anything they'd like to share this morning or any questions?
Master Kim, this morning when you spoke about feeling the connection to others who were trying to connect to us.
Or not trying, but wanting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But,
I connected through the third eye. It was
mhm,
not exactly where you said to connect.
mhm.
But that was where it felt strongest, and it felt like it was in layers. It was very
Mhm.
interesting.
This type of stuff is always interesting, to say the least. So, but I think you just wanted to share, or did you want to just get confirmation that that's okay, or
I wanted to share that because I've found that sometimes it triggers other people to share weird things. It was very weird. Thank you.
oh, so did you say it was weird, or did it feel
Yeah,
natural,
I was
or
non-compliant with your direction,
uh-huh?
but it
Why is
felt
that
like it
weird?
was the right thing.
Uh-huh. So why is that weird? There's nothing weird about when something feels right.
Thank you, sir. You are correct.
You're welcome. So, sometimes we have a need to connect. Well, I think I would say most of the time we have a need to connect with the heart. It's the heart that feels the desire to connect. But sometimes actually we have a desire to connect through our mind, or through the vision. And so, but I would say that despite my instructions, you captured the more important message, which is to connect in a way that feels right to you. Right. And so that would be the more important message. And for the people who are listening in, I had everyone close their eyes, and while you're in the darkness, or while there are no distractions, where you just feel the vastness of the space all around you, I had everyone just feel their heart, and then feel all the other points of connections, if you will, out there, all the other people who, already wanted to genuinely connect with you. And as you just close your eyes and you feel your heart and your desire to connect with other people, you will feel other people who want to connect with you. And then you'll notice this is just natural connection, and where you don't feel alone. And you can feel that they're right there with you. And the reason that this is so important is because we don't realize, it's kind of like when someone is right next to you and you close your eyes, we don't realize that actually we already, we kind of feel connected. And the only thing that keeps us from feeling connected is our sense of disconnection from a physical perspective, because we don't realize that we actually really connect energetically. Even if the person's right next to us, touching us, sometimes we feel alone, and it's because we don't actually feel connected the way we're meant to be connected. And this awareness allows us to actually connect beyond time and space in a way where we genuinely want to be connected with the people that want to be connected to us. But nothing weird about it. Sometimes we want to connect differently. And so anyway, so that's kind of like the context, so that people know what the teaching was this morning. But anyways, but if you connect to your other chakras, that is perfectly fine. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Master Kim. That was very helpful.
You're welcome. Okay, very good. Okay. Okay. Anyone else would like to share anything or ask any questions?
I can share my weird experience that's related.
Oh, go ahead.
I had well, I don't know if it's weird, but just along the lines of what she just shared. So I was feeling kind of, I guess if you were to describe it in a judgmental, it's kind of like non-compliant this morning in general, and fatigued and something a little bit. Then I realized it wasn't until like checking all the meridians, I realized my kidneys low. And it's like, oh, okay, not willingness is lacking, like my willpower is lacking. And that was helpful. And then when we did the connecting exercise and I felt the people wanting to connect, it felt overwhelming. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because I would have assumed that I just would want to connect. But it felt like my attention needed to be more inward or something, that it was a bit much. And so that was surprising to me. And, not that I didn't want people to connect to me, but just kind of like interesting how it hit my system in the moment. So I just wanted to share that since Shibu had mentioned it. And if there's anything you want to add to that or tell me about it, I'm welcome.
No. Actually, it's like, it's a good gauge. This kind of awareness actually kind of lets us know where our system is, whether if you want to comment. So if our system is full, meaning it's not emptied out, then connecting to other people, and also if our chakras are closed, that's how they get full. Our chakras are meant to be open, as open portals, so that we can receive energy, and so we can be in communion with the universe and all that is alive. So it really gives us infinite sense of connection, actually. But for one reason or another, if we can't, if we're feeling, if we're perceiving, if there's fear of some kind, and kidney, as you said, has to do with will and actually also fear, right? Then it will stop receiving. It will stop receiving by tensing, and when that happens, that's actually what creates the accumulation. Now, when I say this, it can sound like I'm saying that you need to always be open, and I'm not really actually saying that. I'm just saying that there are times in our lives where, kind of like just eating something that you can't digest. And some things should not come into your system. Or sometimes some things you need to learn how to digest it into your system. And so there are times when our system, resists for one reason or another, and therefore creates tension. And that tension is actually what creates the stop in the flow of the energy, and then our system fills up. Kind of, sort of like it's like a backlog. It's like a bottleneck, if you will. And then when that happens, any connection, which actually is, a certain kind of frequency or energy coming in, can feel overwhelming, which means you probably want, people would say alone time, or, people, I want to say unconsciously say you need space. Why do you need space? So that you can drain yourself out, and so you can empty yourself out, because that's what space does. It's kind of like, and so And in that case, you should not connect, and you should just focus on connecting to space and light, because space allows for whatever is filling you up to receive, or where you can actually release into whatever is stuck. And then light allows for everything to melt so that it can release into, so that you can, it will start flowing again. And so light clarifies and exposes. Space allows for whatever was stuck in your system, for it to take care of that by allowing it to flow again and release. And so those are the two things. And the experience of love is when you are experiencing space and light, because space is the experience of freedom. It's kind of like the open vista. It's how we experience freedom, because it's like you come to an open sea. All of a sudden your chest opens up and you can take a breath and you feel great, or you're on top of a mountain. It's one of the reasons why people sought out spacious places, because the environment will allow our minds to become spacious, and therefore allow our bodies to release, because our body and mind are one. And so whatever the mind perceives, the body responds to. So when you allowed yourself to come into a spacious place and then feel all the connections and you feel overwhelmed, oh, I need space and light. I have some congestion and it's overwhelming. And so I need to disconnect and take care of myself. So that I can reset or reboot, if you will.
Yeah, this already feels a little better. Just mentioning the space.
Yeah, right? And so if you bring in some more light, so what I would recommend is that you kind of just close your eyes and imagine white light in front of you, and like kind of a sphere of one, white light, or some people like heart shapes, or anything that has meaning to you. And or if you have a deity that you relate to, whether it be Jesus, Kuan Yin, or Buddha, or it doesn't really matter. I mean, Buddha is strictly not a deity, but or as I said, or sometimes a flower, or just a sphere of light. I mean, whatever speaks to you. Imagine that that's in front of you, and then imagine that that light, comes into your heart and your being, transforms all of your being into light, and then imagine that it radiates out, kind of like where you're sharing, and then you'll feel your whole system clearing out, your whole system resetting according to the light, and then just rest in that. Just rest in that light, that now, and as you share it, feel the whole universe becoming that light. And then once the whole universe and yourself has become light, then just rest in that light. And that will help you a lot, and it will give you direction as to what you need for your system. And you'll be able to find some direction from that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's helping a lot. Funny how, like, I had a kind of a sense that's what I need, but you just walking me through it was a lot more effective for some reason. like, need space and nurturing, but just the way you described it was super helpful. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. So, okay, very good. Well, thank you for sharing that experience. I'm sure that through your experience, someone else is going to benefit. You know, it's kind of like the same thing, right? We receive, we share, we transform together, and then we rest in it together. So, okay, very good.
My pleasure.
You're welcome. Okay, anyone else would like to share anything or comment on anything or ask any questions?
I just want to say both of those questions and answers were really helpful for me, or it just gave me a good experience right now. And also was working with an injury today, and I just felt kind of grateful for having some different ways to approach it and knowing kind of what to do, where I feel like in my past, if I was injured, it would just be like, oh no, darn it. And
Yeah.
being able to work through it. And I guess actually there was something cool with the working with through the injury, is that as I was going really slow, what I would notice is there'd be like one area as I'm moving, as I'm, folding forward or something, there'd be a very particular spot where it would begin to hurt. And so I would back off a little bit and then try and play with that quarter inch of movement or so that was causing the pain. And I felt like that first spot that I was finding was definitely the most painful. And what I was realizing, I think, at least typically I would rush through that spot. I would try and get past that and then maybe stretch or something past that point where it's not as painful anymore, but being able to stay and extend or bring relaxation, all that kind of stuff around that first painful kind of where the nerve kind of goes or something, like being able to that spot and having the awareness and being willing to go slow. I just noticed a really big difference, and just kind of knowing what to do also felt different and good. I'm blabbing on now. Thank you, by the way.
Oh, no, that's great. No, you're welcome. Yeah, it's like knowing what to do, like just shows the growth of your awareness, which is great. It's like when people say that they feel like they know what to do, oftentimes people think it's actually got to do with techniques or things like that. And I'm not saying you're saying that, but what really actually grows is our sense of awareness and just kind of our know-how or our inner knowing of how to just approach it. And it just feels like you're really just kind of hitting that spot. So that's really good. You might be doing this already, but if not, one thing that's actually really powerful when it comes to this is kind of feel your energetic body as you're moving your body, and then see how the movements impact the energetic body, where you're not really paying attention to the pain or the physicalities. This is kind of like a really very important, if you want to call it a trick that I found just keeps paying off dividend over the years. But when I'm not paying attention to my physical body, because then without realizing it goes into trying to fix my body. Whereas actually all the issues happen from a misalignment somewhere within ourselves where we're not aligned with who we are. Whether it's at the mental level or whether it's at the emotional level or physical level, which is actually really the same thing as I was saying earlier, where when we perceive something, then our body responds to it. And so as we are moving our body, as we just actually feel our energy body and we relax our eyes, but we actually just perceive our energy body and then we move, all of a sudden we start actually having a very different insight as to what's causing the pain. And instead of trying to resolve the pain, actually we just get to enjoy realigning our physical body in relation to our energy body. And so I just wanted to just provide the perspective for to try if you're not doing that already, because that might actually bring about a more fundamental insight that actually makes whatever the injury is, if you will, irrelevant, because it was never about the injury to begin with, but it had more to do with destiny. So that's something that just came to me, I wanted to share. Okay.
Thank you very much, once again.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm actually done cleaning, so I gotta scooch. So I bid you all farewell and just a great day of training.
Thank you, Master Kim.
Welcome.
You too.
Welcome.
Thank you, Master Kim.
Welcome. Bye.